Welcome back. This is the continuation of the June 2019 question paper, right? So we are continuing. So the previous video was covering assessment A. Now we are covering assessment B. Let me just go to the question paper so that we can continue. Okay. Let me just make sure that I have my time in place so that I don't make the video so long, right? Go to the question paper. Right? So part B, adjustment B. Adjustment B, they say the physical stock count on 31 March 2019 revealed the following on hand. Trading stock, the G3 for 500, consumables 400, right? So what impact will this have on our income statements that we are required to prepare? Right? So let's go to our slides. So summary, trading stock, the G3 for the 334 500, consumables 3,400. So this means we expect to have a trading stock of 334,500 on the statement of financial position. But on the trial balance, we are told that the balance is 364,200. Where did I get this 364,200? We go to our question paper. Let me just print this the side so that I can be able to scroll. We are told here from our question paper that the trading stock balance is 364,200, right? But we are told that when they were doing physical stock count, remember I covered physical stock count saying this is a control that we put in place to make sure that the trading stock that you see on the financial statement, it agrees to the trading stock that is on the floor or on the storeroom or whatsoever location it is, right? So in this location, they say the value of trading stock is 334,500, whereas the financial your trial balance is 364,200, right? So remember, in adjustment A, there was a stock that was sold and not recorded. That's when we pass the journal above. As you can see in here, when we pass the journal above, we say credit trading stock because the stock is going out, debit cost of sales, right? So it means that stock that we see on the trial balance needed to be adjusted. It was 364,200. Then we sold the stock that was not recorded. And if you record them using that journal, the new trading stock on your financial statement is going to be 340,200, right? But when we do a physical stock count, it's 334,500. Why is there a difference, right? Let's go to the next slide. So this means the physical stock count is less than what is in the accounting records, right? Then what could be the reason? The reason could be due to theft or stock obsolescence, right? We have explained stock obsolescence, saying this is when the stock is no longer in a situation whereby it can be able to be sold or maybe it's damaged or whatsoever, right? So this means if your accounting records, they say your stock is this amount, whereas your physical stock count, it says this stock is 334,500, then it means there is what we call a trading stock deficit of 5,700, which I got from saying this amount that is on the trial balance, 340, 300 minus 334,500. Well, this I think there's a typing error here. You are supposed to be 2. Yeah, and my apologies for that. That will be recorded as an expense, right? So then we move to show how is this being affected on your trial balance, on your income statement, right? That we are required to do. So remember, we say trading stock deficit. This is the opening, not the opening stock. This is the amount that we see on the trial balance, 364,200 minus that 24,000 that we've adjusted in adjustment A, then minus the closing as per the physical stock count of 33,500, right? then that's your trading stock deficit, how you calculate it, right? Then one thing that we can grasp from here is that as an accountant, you need to be able to link from one adjustment to the other, because of one adjustment can affect how the other adjustment is being accounted in subsequently, so or in following each transaction, right? So you need to no need for you to see things in isolation, because if that's the case, you won't be able to see if there's one transaction that affects the other transaction, right? So we move on. Then we are told that the consumable stores on hand is 3,400, right? Whereas on the trial balance, it shows that there's an expense of 53,200. Where do we get that? We are told on the trial balance, let me scroll down so that we can be able to see that there's a consumable stores of 53,200, but this 53,200, it was not all utilized throughout the year. Your consumable stores are things like your packaging materials, your small stationery, etc. Like those small things that the company uses on a day-to-day basis, right? That they are not selling, but they are using for their operations, right? Then let's go back to the slide. Then we are told that the consumable store that is on hand is 3,400. Then it means as much as they spend 53,200 to buy these consumables, there is an amount that is left on hand. So it means they cannot expense the whole 53,200 because of this a small amount that is being left, because we only account for the transactions that occurred or that we have utilized throughout the year. So the consumable that should be expense in your income statement should be 49,800, which is cost to 53,200 minus 3,400. Let's see how it is shown on the trial balance on your income statement. Right? So income statements, consumables is 53,200 minus 3,400. This is how you do income statement, adjustment by adjustment, right? So we move to the next adjustment. Scroll down. The next adjustment is adjustment C. We are told that the debtor S. McNam was declared insolvent, right? His estate paid 2,000, which was 20% of his debt. The difference must be written off as bad debt. So what we can take from there, let's go to the slide. So what you can take is that there's a 2,000 that was paid by the debtor, and this debtor was insolvent. So insolvent means the debtor liabilities are greater than his asset, right? So he has to be written off as has to be declared insolvent, meaning he cannot be able to pay his liabilities. And we are told that this 2,000 comprised of is 20% of the debt. Then the other 80% is going to be written off. And we've learned from the previous video that when a debt is written off is what a bad debt, right? So it's like we're saying he has a debt which is K, then 20% of this K is cost to 2,000, right? So K is cost to 2,000 divided by 20%. So K is cost to 10,000. So K is what? The debt that this person was owing. So the person owed 10,000, then we only received 2,000. The remaining is going to be written off as what? Bad debt. So we expect to see a bad debt increase by 8,000, right? So let's see how on your income statement this was reflected. They had bad debt that had already been there, but there's now this debtor who was written off for a bad debt of 8,000. Then we have to increase our bad debt by 8,000, right? Then we move to the next adjustment. Adjustment D, right? So we're told that 1,800 was received from debtor J.M. Sting, whose debt was previously been written off. The bookkeeper incorrectly credited the amount to the debtor's control account. Correct the error, right? So let's go back to the slides and see how this is accounted for. So the takeaway is that this 1,800 was received from the debtor. The amount was previously written off. What the bookkeeper did, he incorrectly credited the debtor's control, You see, so this is an error. Remember, we said an error can be because of incorrect accounting by a bookkeeper. So this was an incorrect accounting because of the debt was not, the payment was not to pay the debt that is already existing. Remember, debtors control shows the debtors that are there. So if it's someone who's not in the debtors control, why should you credit the debtors control? This debt was previously written off. It means it was a bad debt previously. So now when they receive this money, this should be a what? A bad debt recovered, as you've learned from the previous lectures, right? So we expect to record bad debt recovered of how much? 1,800, right? So the bad debt that is on the trial balance, when we prepare the income statement, it must increase by 1,800. So let's see how it's affected. So income statement, remember, bad debt recovered is a what? Is your income. So other incomes, you see a bad debt recovered, the amount that we've given on trial balance plus 1,800, right? So before we move to the next adjustment, I think let's just pause here so that we can be able to do adjustment D in the next video. No, yes, adjustment E in the next video. Let's pause, then we'll continue in the next video. Thank you.